What is up? It is DJ Martini Midwest Reviews coming at you with another video for my channel. Today I have a really cool handheld gaming unit called the 1X Player 1S. This is an 8.4 inch handheld computer, and I'm just going to say that it is a computer. It does have Windows 11, and it's going to be pretty exciting to bring it to you today. Now, there's a bunch of reviews out there, so I appreciate you guys tuning in to DJ Martini Midwest. If you've never tuned into DJ Martini Midwest, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. I do all kinds of tech reviews, item reviews, anything I can get my hands on, anything I can afford to get my hands on. I do purchase everything myself. So thank you so much for tuning in to DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. Please like, subscribe, and share. Please lock in. All I like to do is help do the research so you don't have to, give you positives and negatives, give it to you all as easy as possible, and then leave some links in case you guys are interested. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get into the video on the 1X Player 1S 8.4 inch screen handheld gaming unit. All right, so let's jump into some of the specs and get some of that out of the way, and then I'm going to go in you for a closer look on this device, give you positives, negatives, and then we'll go from there. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the 1S behind me. You can see it here. It is an 8.4 inch screen. I did purchase this used off eBay. You can find it on eBay pretty easily. I was able to get my hands on it pretty quick when I wanted to get it. Unlike the Steam Deck, which I had to wait a whole year to get that, and I had ordered it last year in 2022, and I barely got it within the week here. I'm definitely going to be putting a review out on the Steam Deck as well compared to the 1S, but I'm gonna have to do some more research on it. I'm still kind of messing with it and things like that, so that could take me a little while before I get the video out, but it's coming. So let's continue on this 1S here. It's a handheld computer, and I'm going to go with the specs just to get that out of the way, and then we're going to go in for a close look at the 1S so I can give you guys a good look at it. This one is an AMD Ryzen 7 5700U. All right, so that is the processor and everything. It is AMD. They do have an Intel. They have all kinds of models, and they are all continuously upgrading these models. This is an older model. Like I said, I got it off eBay used. It was about $800. They are more expensive than, say, like the Steam Deck, but it is a computer, and it is running Windows 11, which I do enjoy because you can play all your AAA titles easily off, whatever you want. You can, I can play Fortnite on this. I can do Epic. I can do Steam. I can do whatever I want out there. I can do Xbox portable, so I can do all those, and it is very fantastic. I am enjoying it. I was just playing Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and it looks fantastic. So I just want to tell you that it is a handheld. This is a 1 terabyte version. They do have up to 2 terabyte versions, and like I said, you can get Intel or AMD depending on what you're looking for. This is a 57. They have upgraded already to the 58U if you're looking for that, and they are probably running around $1,100 retail from the company. And I just want to put out there that the company is pretty awesome. I had ordered I actually had one in eBay, and then I had ordered one as well, selling the other one, but I had 2 of the same one, so I wasn't going to have 2. But the company was fantastic. They sent me one out really fast. I actually got it within probably under 14 days. So the company is really good to work with. They have great customer service. I had exchanged some messages with them as well regarding that sale, and they were fantastic. So I just want to say the 1X company, I do enjoy the customer service. They were fast and friendly, and so if you do buy from the company, it is worth it as well, which you might be able to find some cheaper from the company than actually trying to go on eBay and gambling with a used model or scams and things like that, which I've run into as well. This has a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. It has 16 gigs of RAM, so it is loaded. It has a battery, a 15,300 milliamp battery that is rechargeable. It does have resolution at 2560 at 1600, which is like 2K resolution, which is pretty good. 358 pixel density. It is 819 grams, which is about a pound, almost a pound and a half. So it does have a little weight to it. Couldn't quite find the nits, but I do know that it is bright, and even using it at nighttime, since you're holding it pretty close, it honestly has some brightness to it. So I actually have to turn down the brightness to it. So anybody that says it doesn't have a lot of brightness, I really don't agree with that, but I think that could be subjective to everybody out there. It does claim 11 hours of battery use with light use, so watching movies, things like that. But we're going to talk about that later in positives and negatives. It does have the 8.4-inch screen, which is one of the biggest screens. Everybody's trying to make them smaller, but I do like the 8.4-inch screen, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The really good resolution and IPS screen, so it does give you very good vibrant colors, and the screen looks fantastic for an 8-inch screen. So alright everybody, we are back, and I wanted to talk about the One X. This is the One X player. It is the One S. It is an 8.4-inch screen. We're going to go over all the buttons and doodahs that it has, and we're definitely going to get into it. So we're going to start at the top here with your exhaust ports up here. It is I think this thing looks really nice. I love the size of it, and I love the form factor of everything. I think it's well designed, and I think One X player kind of has a really good flow to it. So I am enjoying this, and I do have a Steam Deck. I was trying to get my hands on an AO Neo, but that didn't work out. It was kind of a scam, and I am also going to try in the future to maybe get a hold of a GP3 Win as well. So I'm definitely going to be testing a lot of these units out, letting you know if they are good and what is going on. So please tune into my station. You have your exhaust ports here. You do have a USB C Type 4, and this one right here is actually your power, so you want to remember that. This is the one that you want to plug in your power. If you plug it into the other USB, you could run into some issues. I did run into some issues trying to plug it into that. So make sure you plug it into this one with the little power plug on it. You have micro USB port right here to plug in your any kind of micro SD card. You do have a USB 3.0 right here, and you do have another USB 0.4 right here. This one doesn't really accept power, and I have had issues where I had to reset it if you accidentally do put power into it, at least on my unit. On the 3.5mm jack right here for your audio, you can hook up headphones. You do have a power button right here. This one, in my opinion, does not have a fingerprint sensor. I don't know if I know the new ones do. I think this is a older model. Definitely, like I said, I purchased this used. So you do have your exhaust fans in the back here, which do make a little bit of noise. You do have a little kickstand here. It is metal, so that is nice. On the back side, you do have volume buttons right here, so that will affect your volume. And you do have a it is a mute button, so you do have a mute button right here. Mute button right here. And then on your front, you do have your joysticks here. The joysticks are made by Elf. Very nice. They feel really good. You can click down. They are nice. You do have your X, Y, and A, B right here. Very nice. I think the buttons are nice, and they work right now. You can see that I do have this, like I said, in mouse mode, so I am controlling my mouse with my joystick. Go through with your D-pad here, which feels nice. You can go through things. You can see I'm clicking down on the D-pad. So it takes a little while to learn this, but this is your keyboard button. It will pop up a keyboard. If you press and hold, it does take it out of that mouse mode, and you'll hear a little audio tone, and I think I have it on mute still, that's why you didn't hear the audio tone. So it's out of mouse mode, and I can click that, take the keyboard back out. But it is out of mouse mode, so nothing is working. So you can put that back into mouse mode by press and hold, and you get that audio tone. And then we're back in mouse mode, and you can click through everything, which is useful. You have your turbo mode right here, which gives you all the best settings for, you know, gaming graphics and things like that, optimal settings for gaming, but you will sacrifice battery life tremendously with that. You have a speaker right here. You have dual stereo speakers right here, and they do sound really good. I'll get something playing here in just a second, but you do have really good stereo sound. Now, like I said, this is a full-fledged computer. This thing runs Windows 11 very nicely, and I think Windows 11 is an improvement over Windows 10 when it comes to this device, when it comes to having a touch screen and having the features to use it in this small of a form factor in like tablet mode. So I think it definitely is an improvement using Windows 11 with this device. So I do have Epic, I do have Xbox here. I can play my Xbox Live. I can use Epic. You can load Steam on this as well. But once you start putting all those things, it takes up a lot of memory. So you're definitely going to kind of want to maybe pick one or the other, what you play the most, in my opinion, just to help you out. Also, you can move this keyboard around up top here, or you can use the Windows keyboard here. The problem with this is sometimes it blocks where you're typing in things, so then you can't see it. So that is an issue. Having a keyboard is nice with this, and we'll show you that in a little bit. Over here in mouse mode, it's going to click out of things. You do have, these are for game modes, more for when you're in games. Those will take you out back to the screen and go into your menus and things like that in games. So you do have your top LB and RB, and you do have your L1, L2, left to right, which they feel pretty good. They have some play in them as well, but they do feel pretty good actually. Maybe a little bit of long travel on the trigger here, but satisfying clicks on the top RB and LB. So you do have your magnetic strip for a keyboard. So I did pick up a keyboard. The keyboard is not fantastic. I'm not super pleased with the keyboard. The mouse pad is lacking at best here, but it does, you can see my mouse there kind of moving around, but it is not very awesome, the mouse pad travel, but you can click. You can go, and like I said, if we're going to type some stuff in, oops, office, whatever, you can see it does work. Did pick everything up, office, and you can say enter. So the keyboard does work pretty good, but the mouse pad is kind of not very good in my opinion. The keyboard is pretty standard, it does kind of fold up with it, so it is nice to have as an accessory, but there's a lot of cheaper options out there than buying this keyboard in my opinion, unless they can really fix this mouse pad, which like I said, is just not very good. It's not traveling very well. It's kind of hard to use. You might be able to dial it in a little bit better in the menu, but it is very, very issuey. You do have some issues when you're using it. What I would suggest is having maybe a little keyboard like this, inexpensive. They are probably maybe $12. And you can pick something like this and put a little dongle in this in the top, and then you can absolutely use this as a keyboard as well. And I'll demonstrate that it does work pretty good. And I'm going to put this guy in here. This works a lot better. So that's a lot smoother. When I'm on the web, I can go to wherever I want. This will take me back to my home screen as well. I can type things as well, really easy. So I think this works a little bit better in my opinion to have something like this than the actual keyboard itself, but it is an option, so I'll leave a link for something like this out there. Let's go over what the speakers sound like really quick. Break out my Windows media player and we'll press play here, and we're playing right there, and I can adjust the volume on the back here. But it actually sounds pretty good, in my opinion. It actually has some beats to it, and pretty decent, guys. So yeah, the stereo speakers actually sound really, really good for gaming. Everything you're going to need in this 8.4 factor. Now, I haven't had the 7-inch, but I love the 8.4-inch screen. It is a very, very good screen, and like I said, very, very useful to use, and it feels nice. Like, I actually like the spacing and everything in this. It is super nice. I like where my hands sit. Now, that's going to be different for everyone, but I do like the way my hands feel on this. It does have little indentions on the back here. For a little bit of grip, especially when you're setting it down on a table. Now, if you're holding it, we'll talk about that, but it is a little bit heavy. It does weigh about 1.5 pounds, so your arms will get a little tired using it, but very, very nice here. And I can actually game on this, in my opinion. I just want to put a comparison here. If you're used to things like a controller, or even a PlayStation controller here, this is a lot different. I mean, look at the size difference you're going to be messing with. Now, you can use a controller if you just plug it into something like this, because it is a full-fledged computer. But take a switch here. There is a significant size difference between a switch This is just a little bit wider with that 8.4-inch screen. Definitely the screen size is definitely, you're definitely getting a lot more screen with this. And in my opinion, because of how small this is for an adult, now my kid loves the Switch and is pretty good, but with me, I have a really hard time where this stick is. I can move my person really well, but when it comes to aiming, I have a hard time using this. This just doesn't feel right. This is a lot bigger, and so I can kind of use that better. So it's just something that you have to get used to. If you're used to a controller, this is going to take you a little while to get used to. So just something to put out there, a little comparison here on the size difference. I mean, this thing dwarfs this thing. And once again, this is a full-fledged computer, so definitely something to think about. All right, let's get into positives and negatives. Positives, right off the bat, is I love its form factor. I love that it is an 8.4-inch screen. It is pretty monster compared to the other units that are out there right now. Everybody's going to smaller, trying to make things smaller and smaller and smaller. I don't like smaller, actually. I like the form factor. It feels really good in my hands. I love the placement of the controllers. It feels really good in my hands. Now that's going to be subjective to everyone, but I really do like the 8.4-inch screen. I think that just feels right. It looks right compared to something like a Switch. This is a lot smaller. This doesn't, to me, this is too small. This is like playing on your phone. It just doesn't feel right when you're playing AAA games on a device like this. I feel like you need something a little bit more substantial. That's just my opinion, but I do like the form and form factor of this. Everything feels right in my hands, and that's going to be subjective to everyone, but I personally do like it. I love the speakers on that. Definitely a positive. The speakers sound great, even have almost a little bit of low end to them. It's fantastic. You can feel some of the bass on it. The form factor on the top, you're being able to have two USB ports is nice. The micro for extra expansion in memory is nice to have as well. And once you get used to the mouse controls with the system itself, it's not that bad. A lot of people really quirk about having Windows in tablet mode and how cumbersome it is. It is a little bit, but once you get used to it, it's really not that bad. You just have to get used to certain quirks about it. And like I said, if you do have issues, buying a little device like this will absolutely help with setup, typing, things like that. So no problem. Even the keyboard that comes with it is decent for typing, so no problems there. The only problem with it I had was the actual mouse pad itself, but it does have a touchscreen, and the touchscreen works pretty good as well. So negatives for sure. It does have a few negatives in my opinion. Although I do love the form factor and everything about graphics and memory and certain things that you can upgrade, there is a learning curve to using something like this, especially if you are a console gamer. If you're coming from PS5, PS4, original NES, if you've been playing games for a long time with a controller, using something like this device is a learning curve. Absolutely. Holding something like this, looking at it, is different. It is just different. I'm gonna put it there. And if you're holding this for 30 to 45 minutes, your arms get tired, your hands might get a little cramped, especially if you're not a youngling out there. If you're a little bit older, holding something like this is definitely cumbersome. This is 1.5 pounds, and it's a learning curve. We'll put it that way, holding a device like this. And this is one of the bigger ones out there. This is the 1X Player 1S. It does weigh like 1.5 pounds almost. So it is a little heavy. So you definitely a learning curve to using this, using the buttons, having used to a smaller controller. This is going to be a learning curve to use, especially when you're playing your games. So something to think about there, just as ergonomic type thing, it's a learning curve and it's something to think about. Also, the biggest issue with this negatively for me is battery life. Honestly, playing a game, I'm only going to get about 2 hours with top performance. If I'm running turbo, it's really going to affect that battery. If I'm not running turbo, I can get that 2 hours. Running turbo, maybe I only get an hour and a half of gameplay, which, like I said, holding this device makes it a little bit easier because you're going to want to take a break. But at the same time, if you're watching a movie or anything and you have it set down, you might get more time out of it, maybe up to 4 to 6 hours using it. They claim 11 hours with that battery, using light use, using it with various things, and I don't know about that. Right now I've been making this video and doing things with it, and it was at 99%, and now it is at 82%, and it's probably only been like 2 hours, and I haven't really even used it. So the battery does kind of go down pretty well. So battery issues is one thing. Also, this is probably one of the first units that came out. I bought it used. It only charges to 99%, and it's only like a year old. So that's one thing to think about as well. And I haven't used it super much, but maybe whoever had it before used it a lot more. That battery has kind of decayed faster than I would think, only charging up to 99% already. This thing is very picky when you charge it. It wants a 65 watt charger, and it has to be around 3.8 amps, between 3 and 4 amps feeding it to it. There's only a handful of chargers that do that out there. Luckily I've been able to find. I found a Heisei that works. It's actually a 100 watt charger. It will charge as it's supposed to be and charge it up to the battery percentage. But if I plug this into the 100 watt, it won't charge at all. It will not let it charge. If you plug it into the 65 watt, it will work. You can even plug it into a 30 watt and slowly charge, but it'll take a very long time to charge that battery. I also have an Anchor that I was able to find, and it also will charge it at the 65 watts. Now, honestly, this probably takes at least 3 to 4 hours to charge from a zero battery. So if you run it down to 8 or 9%, it will take 3 to 4 hours to charge that battery all the way back up to 100%. So usually I'll use it and maybe have it charge overnight, things like that. Another thing to do is at least let me know out there. I'm asking any help 1X players out there. If you're watching this review, please help me. I don't know if this is a software issue or if this is an actual 1X player issue, but when I have it plugged in, I cannot get it to charge at the same time if I'm using it. Even with the 65 watt charger plugged in, the battery just continues to go down until 0%, and then the unit will actually shut off. And then once it realizes it's plugged in, it will stay on, but it will not charge. So it will plug in, stay on, but it will not charge. So the only way I can charge it is if I shut it down and charge it overnight, like I said. But it will not charge when it is plugged in and plugged into the wall. I can't get it to, it's like it's using more power than it's getting charging. So is that a software issue or is that a unit issue? Guys, let me know what you think out there. Please help me. Put a comment down in this video. Let me know if you guys have any of the similar issues. But I cannot get my unit to charge and be plugged in at the same time. Just will not work. The only way I'll be able to do that is if I let it go all the way to zero battery. It dies. I'll turn it back on while it's plugged in, and then it will stay on, but it will not charge. So let me know if anybody has similar issues or any way to fix that. Please let me know, because that is an issue that I've had with this, and that's definitely a negative for me. I'd at least like it to stay on and not die before it starts for other issues, but let me know if I can fix that in settings or anything like that. I've done some research, but I just absolutely cannot figure out how to keep that going. So battery is definitely a negative issue with my particular unit, so let me know. Other than that, everything else is pretty solid. I really like the unit. I love this form factor. I love the size factor. The price is a little bit much for me, but if you start out with that $799 for 4800U, I think that's a good start. That's a place to start. That's where I would start. And like I said, I actually did purchase one of those, but I won an auction on this one at a pretty good price, about the same price. And this does have the 1 terabyte, and the 4800U only has the 512. So this has more memory. This does have a better processor at the 57U. So I definitely kind of got it for the same price, but it does have better specs than the 4800U. But it'd be a great startup price point to get going on. So other than that, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much. I just wanted to give my thoughts. If you need to know anything else about this, let me know. Please leave me a comment on that battery. Let me know, was anybody having issues, or how they corrected them or did not, or things like that. That's all I got for you today. DJ Martini Midwest Reviews. Thank you so much for joining me with the 1X player. We'll catch you on the next video.